we had come up with the idea, we had shot Super Troopers in Poughkeepsie, New York, and we thought, boy, would it be a good idea if we came up with something you could shoot in like a tropical island. And then we sold that idea, surprisingly. And then they let us go down to this resort. It was this kind of like 5-star resort we took over, and we were there for like 2 months shooting a movie. We'll never go to a better place to shoot a movie, except for Montreal. Part of the killer eyes came from Steve used to have this cable neck knit sweater that he used to love. That was pretty funny. It was like a turtleneck sweater. It was his girlfriend's sweater. It was his girlfriend's sweater, a turtleneck sweater, and Jay used to live in Charlie Chaplin's hunting lodge over in L.A. And it had a hidden speakeasy in the basement. So one night, late night, we were down at the speakeasy, and we were all trying on Steve's cable neck knit sweater that his girlfriend had that he stole from him. And we'd all go around trying it on, and then it was kind of like the Irish Spring guy, a little bit. It was a good-looking sweater. It was a good-looking sweater. Yeah, but then I was in the corner, and I happened to have killer eyes, and I was wearing that. I stretched the shit out of that sweater.
You killed the sweater. It didn't survive Heffron. It came back.
It didn't snap back after I put it over my head.
Never lived again. It was funny being in Mexico shooting Club Dread. There were these, whoever wrote The Princess Bride, the rodents of unusual size definitely came from this area. Like we had these things called tejones. I've never seen anything like them. They were like these big lumbering rodents with sharp claws, and they would get into your shit. Like when you checked into the hotel, the Mexican guys there were like, "Senors, whatever you do, make sure you put all the food in the fridge and lock the refrigerator, okay? Nothing in the suitcase." And Spolhansky and I, like the first couple days we had to room together, and so Eric and I were living together, and Spolhansky, like they said it to Eric, and he was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And we went and had our first rehearsal that night, and we came back to our room, and there were, like Eric had brought up all these Odwalla bars, like a box of Odwalla bars, and there was a trail of ripped Odwalla bar wrappers leading away from the house, like down into the woods, and Eric ran into the house following the trail and found that they had gotten into his suitcase, torn the shit out of everything, like thrown his clothes out of there, gotten into his multivitamins. Like we used to joke that there was going to be these like super rodents in the jungle from like the protein supplements. But like he was upset about it. He's like, "These fucking Odwalla bars are expensive." And I was like, calm down, it's all cool. And then I looked over and I saw like my script and my contract and stuff with a steaming pile of shit on top of them. They're bad animals.
They broke into the hair room and shit on my wig. I walked in that morning and found the hair guy crying because there was shit in my wig and he had to clean it out of there. True story.
Hi. In Beer Fest, Jay had like a one-night stand with Monique. I think the actress.
Yeah.
How do you approach her for a role like this, where it's like, oh, you're gonna be the disgusting girl?
She was great. Remember, she dared us to give her the part, right?
Yeah, I mean, she came into the room and said, "I will see you on the set." I mean, you know, it was a meeting, it was an audition. So, you know, she's so funny and is aware of I don't know. Look, I'm not proud of that particular bit about it, but.
But wait a minute. At the end of the scene, you say that you knew
That I knew it all along, right? Exactly. So it's redeemed. But she was just great. She was funny. I don't know how to answer your question though.
She's sad.
That was a good. I mean, I think she just liked the role. It was funny because it was like there's the fight scene that she had, and there was you know, a little bit of German thing, and she got the suck face with the Baron, and there's a lot of fun stuff for her. And I think she had a great time. She's actually the one. Like she talked Michael Clark Duncan into doing this movie with us. You know, he kind of called her up and was like, "Who are these guys? Like, what's their deal? Should I work with them?" And and she was like, "Oh, those guys are great." And she was the one who sealed the deal to get him in the movie. I think he does a fantastic job.
Yeah.
So that was a plus from Monique.
Hi, this question is for Kevin. Is it hard to act in and direct the same movie?
wondering if he was listening to you or not. And then I realized what it was. Like when I was doing it, I appreciated what he went through because, yeah, the hard thing is you kind of have like 7 or 8 things juggling in your mind while you're acting. Like, is the light right? Did they hit their cue? Can you see that microphone? You know, the shit just goes to your head while you're trying to act with the person and you're looking around. So you have to have your stuff really down. You have to have your material really down. And then people just are always kind of talking to you and putting more things in your mind. So that was the hardest part, I think. And, you know, I'm sure that was something that you dealt with in the past.
I mean, it ruins 2 perfectly great jobs. It's just, you're acting with somebody and you're like, I could have said that differently. Oh, it's my line, you know. And it's fine, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and complain about it too much. I mean, it's a great job, but it's not
another layer of difficulty.
It's not as fun as just directing or just acting.
Like that's the thing. Like when he would direct, there'd be like just a little peanut gallery, and everyone would be laughing off on the side while he was dealing with all the shit they had to deal with. And then when I directed, then he became part of that peanut gallery. I think you really like that kind of grab assing that you never got to do.
I enjoy grabbing ass.
It's true. So.
Hey guys, in Beer Fest, how much of the beer was real and how much of the beer was prop beer? What's prop beer? Like fake?
All the stuff that Germans were drinking was prop beer, and all the stuff we were drinking was real beer. We came into it with an attitude of like, fuck that, just give us the beer. But you would show up to shoot stuff, you know, like 7 a.m. and you do like, you know, you do 6, 7, 8 takes of the same thing over and over again. And you were like completely loaded by 8 a.m. and you're like, you can't keep doing this. And so we said, maybe give us something that looks like beer. But we were drinking German beer, so it had to be dark. So they would mix non-alcoholic beer and like coffee, and they'd mix non-alcoholic beer and Coke. And it was vile, the most vile shit. So we were like, you know what, we'll go back to beer. Just take our chances with the real beer. I'd rather be wasted than have a belly full of coffee and non-alcoholic beer. I remember leaving the Beer Fest arena, and we had been drinking that non-alcoholic crap, you know, for most of the day. And, you know, you got covered in it, you're doused in it, and it was just, you reeked of beer. And I remember getting into the car to drive home, and I so wanted a cop to pull me over because I stunk of beer, yet I didn't have any, you know, in my system. I thought it would have been pretty fun. But
You kind of always stink of beer, though.
it's true.
Steve did a thing called a strikeout in the movie where he inhales from a bong and then chugs a beer and then does a shot and exhales, and that was all real. And you know,
Wow.
We really got it on the first take, but I made him do 4 more.